Hi, welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm joined today by Robin Schooley, aka Bobbi Coolio. Robin, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So today we're actually not going to be doing an interview. We're going to do a Q&A. Last week I sent out an email to a bunch of my clients, and I said, look, ask me any questions you like, and I'm going to answer them all on our new YouTube channel. So I received quite a few questions, and I thought we're going to take this opportunity this afternoon to answer as many of the questions as we can within the next 30 minutes or so. So Robin's going to be asking me the questions, and I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. So Robin, when you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Number one. Hi, Nick. I've gained 15 pounds since my gym closed due to COVID-19. What is the fastest way to lose weight?
Well, the fastest way is not necessarily the most effective way. I mean, anyone can lose weight quickly. All you have to do is starve yourself and maybe do a bit of cardio. But the faster you lose that weight, the faster that weight's going to come back on. So in my opinion, what I would recommend doing is taking a look at your diet first. During COVID-19, most of us aren't as active as we usually are, so therefore calories might need to go down a little bit. That doesn't mean you have to starve yourself, but at the same time, you have to account for what your activity level is. So if you're not exercising as much, you probably don't need to be taking in as many calories as you normally would if you were going to the gym 5 or 6 times a week. So I'd first look at the diet, I'd clean that up a little bit, and then I would incorporate a little bit more exercise, a little bit of cardio. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, maybe 20, 30 minutes a day just to get that heart rate up, maybe in a fasted state, just really burn those calories first thing in the morning. And yeah, I think that will get you down those pounds pretty quickly. But again, it's not about how fast you get them down, it's keeping them down.
Okay. Number two. I'm a 19-year-old male, and I've been lifting weights 4 times a week for almost 2 years. I think I'm ready to jump into the dark side. What cycle should I start on?
Okay, so I'm assuming by dark side is right.
Because what cycle should I start with?
Oh, cycle. Okay, so I'm assuming he's referring to which steroid cycle. And in that case, I would say at 19 years old, you have no reason to be taking on any steroids, especially if you've only been training for, I think you said 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
2 years. So, I mean, honestly, you haven't even got your feet wet in the gym yet. I would say, do everything to the best of your ability naturally, build a base, build a foundation, and go from there. Whether that takes 5 or 10 years, depending on how hard and how often you're going to go to the gym, bust your ass, and diet, that's when I'd recommend. Only then start thinking about going to that route. But again, I mean, at 19, you haven't even got your feet wet. So this is a question that we want to answer. No, the answer is straight up no steroids for you.
Oh, okay. Number 3. What's it like being quarantined with Bobbi Coolio for the past few weeks?
What's it like being quarantined with Robin? You know what? Well, I mean, Robin and I pretty much live together, so it's not much of a difference. She's actually quite easy to live with. We don't really get on each other's nerves. I mean, I can speak for me anyway. She doesn't really get on my nerves. There are obviously, you're in close quarters all the time, so you're going to butt heads every once in a while. But no, it's pretty good. I mean, she's on me about a few things more, especially with my making sure I keep things clean. I have a tendency sometimes if I'm working from home to maybe overindulge in oatmeal or peanut butter, so she watches that. But other than that, no real problems. How about you?
Good. I think the random fight last week over vitamins was a breakdown on both parts.
Well, I mean, if you ask us this question again, maybe next week, maybe we'll have to see.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, number 4. What's the most important thing to look for on a food label? Fats or carbs?
Neither. The first thing I tell my clients to look at, number 1, when reading food labels, sugar. That's number 1. Usually, I always tell clients that, look, if what you're reading contains more than 5 to 7 grams of sugar per serving, it's probably not the best thing to be putting in your diet. Obviously, if you're having a cheat meal or something, that's a different story. But I always look at sugar. That's my number 1 thing I look for on food labels. And then my eyes will go to, okay, the saturated fat, the trans fat, and the carbs and so on. But yeah, I don't even look at the carbs and fats before I look at the sugar on anything.
Okay, yeah, good. Number 5, does Bobbi Coolio actually make you eat greens?
Yes, she does. So before Robin and I lived together, I was never a green eater. You can ask any of the guys I used to train with back in the day. I was just a meat and potatoes guy. It wasn't until she introduced me to the greens or force fed me the greens and the importance of eating the greens. And I always knew greens were important. I mean, I've always included them on my clients' nutritional plans, but I just couldn't deal with the time to, cook all the greens. Preparation, exactly. So now she's showed me a different light, and I actually enjoy eating the greens. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I love putting spinach and everything. I'm a firm believer in using the greens now.
Yes.
All thanks.
I'm blushing. Oh, okay. Number 6, do you honestly eat the same food every day?
I do. I've eaten the same foods for probably the past 15, 20 years. I don't like change. I'm a creature of habit. I like to stick with foods that I know how my body's going to respond. So let me explain. For example, my pre-workout meal has always been oatmeal. I know how my workouts are going to go with oatmeal. So whether I'm working out first thing in the morning or at 10 o'clock at night, I always make sure my pre-workout meal is oatmeal. I always like to have a post-workout meal too, and that's usually going to be something like, chicken and rice or cod and rice or maybe salmon and sweet potato. But yeah, I stick to the foods that I know. I'll mix up the order of the foods I have them on throughout the day, but I like to stick to wild. I'm sorry?
I said you're wild.
I am wild. Yeah, I get pretty creative. Sometimes I'll venture off my diet if I'm getting ready for a contest, and maybe I'll switch up like cod for tuna or for tilapia, but that's about it. I don't get too interested in my diet.
No, very true. Okay, number 7. Hey, Nick, what type of diet do you have your clients follow that want to lose fat but also gain muscle at the same time?
Yeah, so that's a very personalized question because it really depends on the person that I'm working with. If I'm working with a female or a male, if I'm working with an endomorph or an ectomorph, what if I'm working with someone who has IBS versus someone who has maybe colitis or someone who's has no health issues whatsoever and just needs to, get that extra push or might have a sugar addiction. So I don't usually prescribe a one size fits all diet plan. I'll usually start everyone off with a base plan and I'll incorporate foods that they generally like. Obviously things like candy bars and, processed foods have to go, but I'll try to stick to foods that I know the person does enjoy eating. So that way, in my opinion, a sustainable diet will be a successful diet. So I try my best to keep in the foods that they like and not incorporate too many of the foods that they don't like. But as far as, macronutrients and calories, that's really an individual based question.
Okay. Number 8, what is your go-to cheat meal?
So lately, well, I shouldn't say lately, I should say for the past 2 or 3 years, my go-to cheat meal has always been 24 big cookies. I usually will get Robin to cook me the cookies if she is willing to. Otherwise, I'll go to the store and I'll grab 24 homemade or baked goods. So I usually go for cookies, occasionally pizza, but my go-to is always, I like sweets. I have a sweet tooth. So it's been pretty much the same, just like my diet, my cheat meal stays the same on the same day every week. And I just down those cookies in probably about 30, 40 minutes, and that's it. And a lot of people don't believe me that I do 24 in a row, but she can tell you I do.
Mixed up in oatmeal and protein powder.
That's right. Yeah. Oatmeal and protein powder, 100%.
Okay. Number 9, have you ever tried or recommended intermittent fasting to any of your clients?
So myself personally, I've never done intermittent fasting. I don't usually recommend it to most of my clients. And the reason why is most of the people I work with train with weight. So I'm not a firm believer in using intermittent fasting if your goal is to put on muscle and burn body fat. With that said, though, I'm not against intermittent fasting, though, because I do know that it has quite a high success rate for a lot of people. So it depends, again, on what your goal is. There's been numerous studies that show the benefits of intermittent fasting. But again, if your goal is to build muscle and lose fat, I'm not a firm believer in using it. That's something we could go into maybe on another episode where we can talk more about intermittent fasting.
I think so. Okay, where are we? Sorry, number 10. Why do you always match the color of your shoes to the color of your shirt?
Because I got style. Of course I would match the color. Who doesn't? No, it's something I came up with probably a few years ago. I think I saw someone doing it in a gym and I thought, wow, that looks really cool. And I started doing it. It kept me creative in the gym. Blue top, blue shoes, red top, red shoes. And it's just something, people make fun of me for it, but I enjoy doing it. And it kind of sets me aside from everyone else because I match. And I kind of like that matchy look.
Lots of sneakers, lots of shirts.
I've got lots of shoes. Yeah. And they all match my shoes.
Yep. This is true. Very true. Okay. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Okay. I've number 11. I've always been really lean and I've never had a problem losing weight. Do I need to do cardio?
Yes, 100%. Myself personally, I've always been more of an ectomorph. I've never really struggled with body fat, but I've always made sure to do my cardio. And the reason I do my cardio is not because I want to stay lean. It's more just for overall health. I find also for performance in the gym. I mean, I can knock out a set, rest 30, 45 seconds max, and I'm good to go again. I see other guys in the gym doing the exact same maybe poundage I'm doing or even less, taking 2, 3 minutes of rest periods. And it's just simply because their cardiovascular endurance is not good. So as far as cardio, I do recommend people do it at least 6 times a week. And I usually recommend to my clients anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes, again, depending on what their goal is.
Okay. Number 12. Hi, Nick. What are your thoughts on roid rage?
Okay, so this is a funny topic because to me, I don't actually think roid rage exists, but there's two answers to this question. Let me answer it this way first. There are certain anabolic steroids that can have an effect on your hormones, and they can raise cortisol levels, they can raise aggression in the gym, and so on. However, I do believe I'll use alcohol, for example. There's some people that when they drink, they're the life of the party. Other people, when they drink, they're not very nice, they're mean, be a bit of an asshole. So my theory is with people who use steroids in the gym is that, there's going to be a few people who, when they use those steroids, maybe they're a little bit more aggressive, and that could be because of themselves. Maybe they're not happy in their own lives. But have I ever witnessed roid rage myself personally? No, I've never seen anyone lose their temper in the gym because they were on anabolic steroids. So I use that comparison to alcohol because, again, there's some people who can tolerate alcohol really well and other people who just shouldn't be drinking at all.
Good, smart. Okay, number 13. In your opinion, what are the best shoes for squatting?
So again, for myself personally, I don't use shoes when I squat. I prefer to squat barefoot. I find that the natural heel in my calcaneus, it's that perfect arch, and I can really feel that explosive reps come through my hamstrings and my glutes when I squat. So I don't just use my quads, because most people are so quad dominant when they squat, they'll usually use their quads or their back or both. So I really try to engage in my glutes and hamstrings, and I find the best way to do that is by wearing no shoes. With that said, though, there are some people who suffer from plantar fasciitis or maybe some patellofemoral syndrome, and they do need that little bit of extra comfort and security in their foot. So in that case, I recommend a good pair of shoes. I know Robin's mentioned that, squatting in Converse, that's something that's become very popular.
Yeah, I've been using Chucks. Yeah.
Something more for flat foot. They also have squatting shoes, but I don't recommend wearing just a basic old pair of runners. I don't think that's a good way to squat.
Okay, number 14. Has your diet changed since the COVID-19 lockdown?
Yes, it did for the first few weeks. With all those hoarders taking everything, I couldn't find brown rice, I couldn't find yams, I couldn't find salmon, I couldn't find cod. So what we did was we kind of resorted to a bit of a vegetarian diet. And I actually didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. I was getting all my protein in, all my carbs in, I was getting my fats in. Robin's obviously the cook, so she made all the good food, and I ate the good food. But it didn't really affect me in a negative way. Didn't notice any, I didn't put on any additional body fat following a vegetarian diet for a week. I personally like to have fish and a little bit of meat in my diet, but if I had to do that diet for another 6-7 weeks, no problem.
Okay, sorry, I lost it. Number 15, and we're going to 30. I'm going to cut it off at 30, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so number 15. Hi, Nick. Do you ever get burnt out of training clients after all these years?
Well, again, it depends on the type of client. I mean, I'm very fortunate because I'm at a place now in my career where I can kind of choose who I work with. And all the people that want to work with me, I want to work with them. People who reach out to me and say, hey, I've tried everything. I want to lose that fat. I want to build that muscle. And I don't know what I'm doing in the gym. I want to help those people. In my earlier days as a trainer, I would just take on anybody. And, I worked with a lot of people. It was frustrating because I knew they weren't giving it 100%. I knew they were constantly cheating on their diet, or they were showing up late to their workouts. So they were just wasting my time and their time. So these days, no, I don't feel burnt out. I would say in the first 2-3 years when I was a trainer, yes, definitely. There were some points where I even wanted to quit personal training because I just didn't enjoy the people I was working with. And I just felt I wasn't making a difference. So as far as burnout these days, no, I love my job. And, I could do 12 hours in a row, 7 days a week, and maybe I get a little bit tired at the end of the day, but burnout, no.
Okay, number 16. Can you build muscle on a plant-based diet?
Absolutely, you can. I know there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to following a vegan or plant-based diet. You know, some people say it's the best way. Some people say it's the only way. Some people say, no, you can't build muscle without meat. So myself personally, I'm not a vegan and I'm not a vegetarian. However, I do work with quite a few vegans and vegetarians. I actually design plans for them. The trick is when you're doing a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet, for that matter, you have to be careful with your carbohydrate sources. For example, let's say you're doing your protein sources. Well, a lot of protein sources that are vegetarian contain carbohydrates. So you've got to go back to your carbs and just make sure that you're lowering your carbs. So if you're someone who's doing, for example, let's say tofu and rice, well, it might be a good idea just to lower that portion of rice if you're going to incorporate tofu into your plan. Same with soy. So I definitely think you can build muscle on a plant-based diet, and I think it's ignorant to say that you can't. There are plenty of vegans that can prove you wrong out there. I'm not for or against a plant-based diet. I think it's just as effective as a meat diet.
Okay, sorry. Number 17. What do you think about unlicensed profession? Sorry, let me start again. What do you think about unlicensed and uncertified people providing free workouts, free diets, and free advice online?
It's funny because I was talking to my friend Migo about this on the channel on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we were discussing, you know, we're both certified trainers. We put in our time. He's been training people on the floor for over 10 years. I've been doing it for close to 20. And now, ever since COVID-19, we see a lot of people offering this free advice online. Now, I don't have a problem with free advice. I have a problem with the wrong advice. So, you know, when someone says, oh, so-and-so is offering this free diet plan, or they're cooking this recipe, or they're doing this workout, and then I see the diet or I see the workout, I go, that looks dangerous for the average person, or that healthy meal is actually not that healthy. Mm-hmm. It annoys me, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, well, who's buying into this? I mean, who's following this? If you're going to follow someone who's not licensed or certified and listen to what they're telling you to do with their diet or telling you to do what they're doing with their workouts, and you get injured or something happens, shame on you. So I get annoyed with those people, but do I get mad with them? No. I mean, it's up to each individual. You want to go wherever you want to go. You want to shop at Walmart, you know, you want to shop at Costco, you want to shop at Safeway, you want to shop at Whole Foods, you go where you want to go. I just think that if I'm going to try to better myself and my health, I'm going to take the advice of a professional and not just some Instagram star.
Yeah.
You want to?
You know, I have a lot of no. Yeah, no. I think if at any time you have to use the term just as good as or basically the same, it isn't. It's not. If you have to get those anything of those statements in there, it is not. Sure. If you're not a professional, don't sell yourself as one.
I agree 100%. You know,
like go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, you know, I'm not a plumber. I've had little problems
exactly.
If I had to call someone for that I can't fix. You know, you call a professional to do it, you know, and same thing with the training and diet. Listen to the professionals. Yeah. You know, that's where I stand on that. And I don't get as mad as I used to get with that because it's so common now. But I just warn people. I say, just be very careful with misinformation.
Yeah, I can put a Band-Aid on, but I'm not going to give you at-home surgery advice. You know, how far does somebody want to take this? You know, this is, sorry, I'll continue with you, sorry. Number 18, what do you think about fat-burning supplements? Do any actually work?
So again, in my personal opinion, in my many years of experience of trying pretty much every supplement on the market, I'm going to be brutally honest here. The legal fat burners, in my opinion, they don't do squat. As far as pharmaceutical fat burners, yes, they do work. But unless you have a prescription for those or you're going to go to your local drug dealer, you are not going to get fat burners that work. Now, when people take a fat burner, and, you know, let's use something like, what's a popular fat burner right now? I don't know. There's some
apple cider vinegar, green tea.
Okay. So,
green bean.
Yeah, green bean. So when someone goes on a fat burner, they're usually going on a diet. They're usually watching the foods they eat. They usually start exercising more. So all of a sudden they start losing weight, and yet they give credit to the fat burner. Meanwhile, they're the ones doing all the work. So the fat burner is more of a placebo. So if it's giving you that placebo effect and it's helping you think, oh, it's helping me lose weight, great, use it. As long as it's not causing me any harm. But I always tell my clients, when it comes to supplements and whole foods and training, and if you're on a budget, put your money towards your nutrition and your training first, and anything left over, put it on supplements, but don't put it on fat burners and muscle builders. Put on your essential vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C, omega-3s, a good protein powder. Don't waste your money on these fat burners, because I can tell you from many, many years of experience, they do not work.
Okay, great answer. Number 19. Oh, so this one I find interesting myself, because a lot of people don't know Nick actually has a background in a few different sports. And I'll let you get into that at another time. But this one's asked, number 19. Why did you choose bodybuilding over any other sport?
I didn't choose bodybuilding. I think bodybuilding chose me. I know that's a funny answer, but the thing is when I was growing up, I did play team sports. I did enjoy that camaraderie and, having players to play with, team effort. But, I've always been a bit of a loner, and bodybuilding kind of was just that time for me to go in the gym and, just use it as a distressor. And growing up as a teenager, I was a bit of a troubled youth. I got into a lot of trouble, and I found that this was a good way for me to release a lot of my anger and my stress. And I started lifting weights when I was 14 years old. I remember cutting class with some of my buddies, and we would just go to the local gym. I'm not proud of that, but I'm saying I wasn't doing it to get the six pack. I wasn't doing it to get the big arms. I just felt it was a great way for me to just, release a lot of that anger. And then sure enough, it just became a habit after all these years. And now it's just something that I can't live without. It's something that I need to do all the time. And what I like about bodybuilding is I don't have to rely on anybody else. I'm responsible for my results. I can't blame someone for my results. I can't say, oh, that person, because so-and-so did this, I look like this or that. It's all on me. So I really like bodybuilding. I like the results I get with it, both internally and externally, and I love the lifestyle.
Great. Number 20, do you have any pre-workout rituals?
Yeah, I have quite a few actually. But it depends on the muscle group I'm training. So Robin can tell you this. On leg day, we train legs together. Before leg day, I don't talk to anybody. I get a lot of anxiety before I go into that. So I won't joke around with anybody. I have my pre-workout meal. I go to the gym. I keep a serious face on. My headphones are on. Until I finish that leg day, I don't say a word to anybody. A few pre-workout rituals I have. I always kind of mentally prepare myself for the work that I'm doing. So that's why I always tell my clients too. I always want my clients to know what workout they're doing in the gym with me. That's important because you've got to mentally prepare for it. So if you're training let's say shoulders, for example, you should be thinking on your way to the gym, okay, how am I going to activate the anterior deltoid, the medial deltoid, the posterior deltoid? And, what exercises am I going to do? Getting into that mental state, whether that means getting yourself into a good playlist on your music or whatever it is. I always think the pre-workout ritual should be for everyone. Everyone should have some type of pre-workout ritual. Mine is just really focusing on that mind to muscle connection before I get into the gym. And oatmeal.
And yeah, that's what it is. There's a lot of oatmeal in your life. Yeah, I'd say that's the main constant partner that you have had.
It has been.
Oatmeal in your weight belt. Okay. Number 21. Why do you hate on people using the phones in the gym while they rest?
Yeah, I think a lot of people get upset with me because I write these blogs and I kind of make fun of people on their phones in the gym, and I get more annoyed with it. One of the things I'll get to is, people sit on their phone, they're texting or they're cruising Instagram, and I'll go up to them and say, well, how many more sets do you have? And then they'll tell me, oh, maybe I'll be another 10 or 15 minutes. And I usually will do something like I roll my eyes because I'm just thinking, you're just sitting there on your phone. And I'll sometimes get someone saying to me, well, don't you rest between your sets? And I do, but there's a difference of resting between your sets and, cruising through Instagram or, updating your Facebook post or, your status. When you start looking at that phone, it's easy, 30 seconds can easily turn into 3-4 minutes. When I'm resting, I'm looking at a blank wall thinking of my next set. I'm not going to be sitting there on my phone. My phone doesn't even make an appearance in the gym. So it's not that I hate on these people. It's just they annoy me. I'm just like, why are you in the gym? In my opinion, the phone, there's no reason for the phone in the gym. Put your music on, it stays in your pocket.
Yeah. Okay. Number 22. I'm a 43-year-old woman, and I've started to notice more arm flab under my arm in these past few years. I do between 45 to 60 minutes of cardio 6 times a week, and train with weights 1 time a week. Should I be doing more cardio to help get rid of the fat? Yeah.
Sorry, how often are they training with weights?
They're training with weights 1 time a week and cardio 6 times a week.
Okay,
And a
so
lot of
yes,
45 to 60
cardio,
minutes. Yeah.
exactly. In my opinion, that's too much cardio and not enough weight. That's actually a very common problem with women. They tend to get the flabby bingo arms as they get older. In my opinion, that's because of a buildup of estrogen in that particular area. As we know, there's no such thing as spot reduction. So you can't go to the gym and say, well, I'm just going to hammer out a bunch of tricep work and get rid of that bingo flab. But again, I don't think doing more cardio is the answer, especially if you're already doing, I think you said 45, 60 minutes, 6 times a week. That
Yeah.
means this excessive amounts of
It's a
cardio
lot
that's
of cardio.
necessary. I would take the cardio down. I would take that down to maybe 3 times a week and add in more weight training. So I would be, doing more arms, more shoulders, more chest, more back, not just more triceps, but just overall more weights. I think a lot of people are afraid to get into the gym because they think, I don't want to get that bulky look. And that's not going to happen. So in my opinion, if you're trying to get rid of that flab under the arm, I would start hitting the iron more, period.
Okay, number 23. Are you stressed out about possibly losing your business during COVID-19?
Of course. I mean, who isn't? Especially as a small business. I mean, it's definitely a struggle and it's definitely a worry right now for everyone. I've had a lot of people on the channel right now who have small businesses and they're just as concerned as I am. I believe in the product and I believe in the service that we sell to our clients. I believe we have a loyal client base, but at the end of the day, I mean, if people are losing their jobs and, small businesses are going under, we can't stay afloat. It is what it is. So I'd be lying to say, no, I think we're going to be fine. I'm definitely trying to stay relevant and, I'm always open to answering all my emails. All my clients know that just because we're not training in the gym right now does not mean that we don't stay in contact. So I'm hoping just like for all small businesses and all businesses actually that everyone pulls through this together. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried. I think everyone is.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Number 24. Hi, Nick. What made you become a personal trainer?
That would be a whole other episode. But short answer, I never planned to be a personal trainer. I never had any like, oh, I want to be a personal trainer. It kind of like bodybuilding, it found me. I was training in the gym. People started asking me questions. I'd help them here and there. And I started helping a lot of people. And then, rather than doing my own workouts, people were interrupting me during my workouts and asking me questions. And, I was getting a little bit annoyed. So I'm like, well, I might as well just help these people and train them for the workouts. And then it didn't even occur to me because back when I was doing it, personal training wasn't even that big of a thing. And I thought, well, what do I need to do to start training people legally and, safely? And it got my license. And right from there, I started training people. So it wasn't something I had planned on doing. It was something that kind of found me. And then I always thought, well, I'll only do this for a few more years. And it just 10 years later, and I'm still doing it. So I'm very grateful. I'm very lucky to have people that do support me and they want me to help them in the gym.
Yeah. No, I do think you have a whole nother episode on that subject though. Or blog. Yeah. Number 26, why did you start a YouTube channel? And do you ever get nervous while recording?
Oh, I get nervous all the time.
Really?
Yeah, of course. No? It's funny. It's actually, I find it more nerve-wracking interviewing someone than, because I'm with you, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But, I find when I'm actually asking someone questions, that can be, as I've never done this before. So it's something I'm still learning. I'm still making mistakes. I mean, it's a learning process. But the reason I started it was all this social distancing. I'm used to being around people all day long.
Yeah.
And right now being quarantined, I mean, I get to see Robin every day, which is great. But I mean, I don't get to see other people that I would see on a regular basis. I'm a fairly social person. So now I don't have that component. So I thought, what a great way to interact with Zoom and just talk to people one-on-one, no texting, no tweeting, no DMing anybody, just face-to-face talking. And also I thought, I have a lot of friends, especially trainers that have their own small businesses. So I said, what great way to give a platform for these people to promote their services and promote their company, especially during a time like this. So it's funny too, because every single person that I've asked to do a talk with me has said yes. I haven't had one person say no to me yet. Or I've had one person say no, and then a few days later, like, okay, I'll do it. So far it's been a great experience. But do I get nervous? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting. Number 26, where does Bobbi Coolio come up with all of her recipes?
I don't know. You have to ask her.
I would start off by saying there isn't a recipe per se. I have an idea and go with it. I've tried doing actual recipes so I can count all the like calorie fat content for people, and I just, I enjoy doing it. But whether or not I find a food at the store that I think, oh, I want to try this, I wonder how this happens, or I see like somebody else's recipe and I think, oh, I like that, but I want to change this, and it kind of flows from there. Or things that I have learned in the past, or I get on a kick about a certain type of vegetable that I feel is really active, or something that I'm constantly learning about the importance of different foods in my life.
Right.
And I feel that we can all constantly learn this throughout our lives, as there's so many different foods around the world, and we have a global market. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from for me, where I think I'll do a specific genre of food for a while, like in the sense of Thai, Italian, or something. And I want to try to incorporate them all together. Basically, there is no recipe, and I just kind of go with it.
Well, and I want to add to that too, because we talked about, people who are not licensed and certified giving out.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that Robin doesn't do, is she doesn't say, hey, you have to have this, or this is the best. So this is the best version of the cake that you can have, the healthiest version of these cookies that you can make. I can tell you from watching her cook the food, and I know my food pretty good, that it's all whole food, very healthy choices that we make. But again, we're not trying to sell something to someone and say, this is the only way or the best way. She's not a licensed nutritionist. She's not saying, hey, you have to do this. If you want to follow this recipe.
I'm an educated person with nutrition background, and I think that's where I get mad at people giving out just random, or like you took a 2-week course, so you read it's
frustrating because
it is
nutrition background, and
and I learned it while I was ill.
Yes, exactly.
And that's where it really does frustrate me.
That would
bad things. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say that would be something that I've been trying to get her to do on her episode, and maybe she will.
Yeah. Anyways, there's no recipe, but generally finding something, or learning something, or seeing something else and wanting to manipulate it, or just being hungry and having a craving. Yeah. Like, oh my God, I need to eat all the chocolate in the world right now, but I don't want to gain 700 pounds. How am I going to make that work for me today and maybe this week? Because I might have to eat chocolate this whole week. But
right.
Yeah, that's basically it. Okay, sorry, I got nervous. Now I got nervous. Number 27. Hey, Nick, at what age did you start lifting weights, and what was the motivating factor to get you in the gym?
Yeah, I think I covered this a little bit earlier, but
yeah.
Let me just rephrase it. So I did start working out when I was 14. Again, one of the reasons was just to release, I had a lot of anger and frustration growing up. I did hang around with a lot of bad kids, so I thought this was a great way to just exert that energy. I had a lot of built up energy too. I know I said before, I didn't want to have the six pack or the abs or the pecs or the biceps, but I was a teenager, so a teenage boy. So of course I wanted those things, but it wasn't my main motivating factor. It just became an addiction. And, like any addiction, there's good and there's bad. And there are some bad addictions when it comes to bodybuilding too. There can definitely be. You can become obsessed with this sport. Luckily, I've never taken it to that degree. I don't think I have. Maybe Robin might say differently, but I've never been to the point where I'm so obsessed that I need to be in the gym every day. Okay, so I think that's very important to have that good balanced lifestyle.
Yeah. Okay, number 28. What's your post-workout shake?
I haven't done a post-workout shake in, I think like 20 years now. I do have some of my clients do post-workout shakes, but again, it depends if it fits into their plan and their lifestyle. For myself personally, I've always had the luxury of training around my own schedule. So I kind of train when I want to train. So I always usually have a pre-made meal to go right after my post-workout. So that might be something like I mentioned before. It could be salmon and sweet potato, could be cod and rice, could be chicken and rice, maybe some, tilapia and quinoa, some oatmeal again. But I've always liked to do solid food post-workout. I'm not a big believer in post-workout shakes.
Okay. No, you're not. Number 29. Hi, Nick. Do you ever drink alcohol?
I don't think I've had alcohol for, what are we on now, about 5 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I used to drink alcohol quite a bit. And I think once I got more into bodybuilding seriously, I kind of just let it go. And it wasn't necessarily bodybuilding, but I started training more and more people. And, with my schedule, I'm working 7 days a week. I'm up at 5 in the morning. The last thing you want to be is hungover. So I think I'd like to say bodybuilding's kept me off the track of drinking alcohol, but it's probably actually more my job now where alcohol doesn't serve any purpose for me. It doesn't allow me to perform in the gym. It doesn't allow me to train my clients any better. So I think it's been at least 5 years since we've had any alcohol. And I speak for Robin too, because obviously, I would know if she's been drinking. And as far as I know, she hasn't.
So I think, yeah.
About 5 years since either of us have had a drink at all.
Yeah. I mean, wait and see how long the quarantine goes for.
Yeah. Liquor sales are up 40%. That's right.
Yeah. Some special cookies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get through it. Okay. Number 30. Final question, and then we'll say goodbye. I always see you're going to retire. You always say you're going to retire one day soon. Are you actually going to retire?
If Robin lets me. So I always joke around and tell people, yeah, I'm going to retire. And what I mean by that is I'm going to cut back on my clients as far as hours on the floor. Obviously, I run a business and I can't be constantly working in my business or on my business. So when I say I'm going to retire, I don't mean retire from training. I just mean retire from training on the floor. Now, with that said, COVID-19 has been a bit of an eye-opener for me because I realized I don't like to spend my entire day behind a computer. I mean, that's what I've been doing pretty much every day is doing a lot of podcasts and doing a lot of online training, which I do like, but it's not my main passion. So this experience has opened me up to thinking, well, maybe I'll take a little bit of a step back from the on-floor training. I'll still do it, but putting in the hours, and she's giving me an eye now, but putting in the hours that I used to put, 12, 14 hours on the floor, those days are numbered now. My body is getting older. I feel like I'm doing a disservice to my clients if I'm training on the floor for 12, 14 hours. And I slowly start to, not burn out, but I slowly start to fatigue for sure. So will I retire anytime soon? Probably not likely, but I will be cutting my hours back on the floor eventually, yes.
Change your business focus.
Correct, yes.
For a happy and healthy, balanced life.
I'm trying. I'm definitely a workaholic. So that's
yeah.
But so are you. So, it's difficult. It's difficult leaving that part. Was that the last question?
That's it. We're going to say goodbye.
So I want to thank Robin for helping me out with this. I'm hoping this is a new part that we're going to add to the YouTube series, the Q&A. Next will probably be a weekly thing that we add in, that depending on, the feedback that we get from viewers. And if people like this, we're going to keep it going. Everything is a trial and error right now. We just want to see what people like, what people don't like. Maybe people don't like hearing me talk this much. But we'll find out anyway, because it goes out this week. So we'll see how this goes. But for now, I want to thank Robin so much for helping me out with this tonight. Thank you. And everyone have a great night. And I will probably talk to you all tomorrow because we've got a new interview coming up and with a surprise guest. Okay, have a good night. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Robin.
Bye. Bye.